Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearance of the Week. This is Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. We'll be giving you all the first appearance in your comic shops today. Now this week we got a pretty good video for you guys. I think we have 6 first appearances, 3 honorable mentions, so 9 titles on to go through. There's definitely some books in there you guys should pick up for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearance of the week, beginning December 13th, 2024. First up from DC Comics, Batman Dark Patterns #1. This features the first appearance of the Wound Man. Now this series is going to explore the early days of Batman's detective days as he investigates 4 mysterious cases. So this here is also the premiere issue of this particular title series. Like we always mention with the DC Comics, really depends on what DC does with these characters they're introducing in the comics, as to how important the characters are going to be, and how important the particular issues are going to be in which they first appear. Now, the Batman franchise has been on a tear lately with collectors. A lot of collectors have been picking up the Absolute Batman title series, and a lot of that interest has been drifting over to other title series as well. Being that this here is the premiere issue of this Batman Dark Pattern series, and this also features the first appearance, this one here may have some overflow interest. And once the market determines which books are hot, they typically remain that way. Even if they don't remain at their most elevated price, typically they will always trade above the cover price. So for the cover price, this is one we do think you should pick up. Go ahead and grab this one here for your collection. Next up from Marvel Comics, Amazing Spider-Man #63. This features the first full appearance of Sirius, a scion of Sidarok. Now, we always mention this with these Amazing Spider-Man titles. Spider-Man, the most popular and most heavily collected franchise for Marvel Comics. So anytime they introduce a new character into that universe, these are books you definitely want to own at the cover price. Go ahead and grab this one here for your collection. Next up from Marvel Comics, Infinity Watch #1. This features the first team appearance of the Apeiron, Infinity Stone Bearers from Another Dimension. This also features the new Infinity Watch team, Star, Colin Wing, Phil Coulson, Multitude, Prince of Power, Overtime, and Quantum. Now, like we always mention with the Marvel Comics, it's typically a good idea to pick up the first appearance of new characters in Marvel titles, and this here is also the premiere issue of this Infinity Watch title series. Marvel Disney is still churning out a ton of media for the small screen and big screen. You really don't know where any of these characters are introducing in the comics are going to end up. If they hit the screen, collectors are going to race back, try to find these first appearances. You definitely want to own them at the cover price. So this is one we do think you should pick up for your collection. Maybe a little bit more speculative than some of the other titles we mentioned, but for $3 or $4, like we always say, probably worth the risk. Go ahead and grab this in here for your collection if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up for Marvel Comics, Laura Kinney Wolverine #1. This features the first appearance of a mutant who has Cerebro-like powers to identify mutants. This is also the premiere issue of this series that leans into Kinney's assassin background, where she will hunt down oppressors of exploited mutants. Now, the Laura Kinney Wolverine character, incredibly popular with fans and collectors, huge fan base, huge collector base. So the fact that this here is the premiere issue of this Laura Kinney Wolverine title series, and this also features a first appearance, this is another one we think you should pick up for your collection. Go ahead and grab this one. Next up from Marvel Comics, Pet Pool Pool Party #1. This features the first appearance of Catpool. This also features the first appearance of Mousepool. Now, a lot of these Deadpool animal variants, incredibly popular with fans and collectors of the Deadpool franchise. So the fact that this here issue features the first appearances of these Catpool and Mousepool characters, this is one you probably want to pick up if you are a big fan of the Deadpool series. Deadpool, huge fan base, huge collector base, and like I said, these animal variants of Deadpool, incredibly popular with fans and collectors. This one here may be a little more speculative than some of the other titles I mentioned, but like I always say, $3 or $4 could be sitting on a huge winner if fans and collectors really go for this book. Probably worth the risk. So grab this one here for your collection if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. And finally for Marvel Comics, Ultimate Universe 1 Year In #1. This features the first appearance of Ultimate Wolverine. This also features the introduction of Ultimate Nick Fury. Now this here is a standalone issue that sets up the second year of the Ultimate Universe. The fact that this here features the first appearance of the Ultimate Wolverine, one you definitely want to have in your collection. I don't have to tell you guys the popularity of this Ultimate Universe. Fans and collectors love these titles. And like I said, the fact that they feature the first appearance of Ultimate Wolverine in this issue, this is one you definitely want to own for your collection. Go ahead and grab this one. And now for the honorable mentions. From Boom Comics, In Bloom #1. The solicitation reads, humanity has always been host to something that has finally bloomed and transformed bodies and minds into something new. Now this title's been getting a lot of buzz for the past few months, so in our opinion this one here has great potential to be optioned. Boom Comics has had a lot of their titles picked up and optioned in the past for small screen and big screen projects, and like we always remind you guys, these titles don't actually have to make it to the screen. Just being optioned alone is enough to drive the price up, get collectors and fans interested in these titles, and drive up the price in the secondary market. So this one here is definitely going to be speculative if you choose to pick it up, but in our opinion, this makes a great spec bet. Great potential to be option. So grab this one here for a spec if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. Next up for Image Comics, Creepshow Holiday Special. This is an anthology of Christmas horror stories. Now, these Creepshow standalone anthologies have been very popular with fans and collectors, and there's a huge fan base for Christmas horror stories. And the fact that this here is a Creepshow title, which already has a huge fan base and huge collector base, we do think this here is a great spec. This is definitely going to be speculative. You should just pick it up because you are specking on future interest in Christmas horror stories to remain high, and this issue to actually have value in the future. But like I said, Creepshow, recognizable IP. There are a lot of fans and collectors out there for the Creepshow title. So this one here, definitely a spec bet if you choose to pick it up, but it may be worth doing so for the cover price. Like we always say, $3 or $4. You could be sitting on a huge win if this goes somewhere. If it goes nowhere, you're just out a couple dollars. Probably worth the risk. Grab this here for a spec if you can. If you can't, put in your B-list and take a look at it later on. And finally from Oni, EC Shiver Suspense Stories #1. Now this here is another anthology of Christmas horror stories. Like we just mentioned, huge fan base and collector base for Christmas horror stories alone. But the fact that this here is a suspense stories title, this one here is definitely going to be huge with fans and collectors. You know, if you're new to the industry, Oni has recently acquired the rights to publish EC titles, claiming that they're going to stay true to the original EC style of storytelling. And these books have been very popular with fans and collectors. And the fact that this here is the first issue of a suspense stories title series, in our opinion, this is a great spec, definitely worth picking up. So grab this one here for a spec if you can. There you have the 9 titles that we have for you guys this week. There's definitely some books in there you guys should pick up for your collection. So please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.